We are live. Good evening. Welcome to Oromo Affairs on Oromo TV. My guest tonight is Paula Kirman, who, with her photography skills, put the Oromo heritage on display at the Edmonton Heritage Festival 2022. So, welcome her with a big likes, big share, and also with a big subscribing, and also asking Paula big questions about Oromo heritage and Oromo culture that she experienced at the Edmonton Heritage. So, Paula, I appreciate you for accepting my invitation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ace. Thank you for inviting me.
For sure. Now, when I saw the pictures, your pictures, and I saw that amount of crowd, and I saw so many Oromo pictures that you took, I had to contact you. I had to ask you about what was your experience at the Heritage Festival
Sure.
of the Oromo
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah. Well, maybe first I should just explain what the Edmonton Heritage Festival is.
Yep, for
It's an
sure.
annual
Please do.
event. Yeah, it's an annual event that's held here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's one of the biggest events that we have annually. It's in a big, big park. There are about 70 pavilions that represent different countries and different cultures. And this year, Oromo was one of the new pavilions that was being
Mhm.
featured. And I attended the festival as I often do, and I am already familiar with the local Oromo community here in Edmonton. I can talk more
For
about
sure.
that later.
For
So I
sure.
was very excited to see that they had their own tent this year, their own
Hmm.
pavilion. And what happens at the pavilions is they have sort of a cultural display. They have food, they have dancing, they have music. So I went and I took some pictures of the Oromo Pavilion,
For sure.
as well as some of the other pavilions at the festival. And I did a post on Instagram featuring some of the pictures I took at the Oromo Pavilion, and I shared
Hmm.
that post as well with my Facebook account.
For
And
sure.
then one of my Facebook friends, who's part of the local Oromo community, shared my post. And then from there, it just went really viral. I remember
For sure.
I
We
went,
love our
I
culture.
know, yeah, I see that. And I remember, I think I went to bed and I got up the next morning and I saw that that post had something like three or 400 likes and about
Right.
200 shares. And
Hmm.
I had to do like a double take and to
For
see
sure.
if this was for real. And I looked at the names and most, there were maybe 20 of my existing Facebook friends who had liked and shared, and then all of these names that I didn't recognize that were they were people who were who were Oromo. And I thought that was just
Hmm.
so wonderful. I started getting a lot of comments. I started getting messages, people requesting friend requests on Facebook. I was just really, really overwhelmed.
That's how
I
I
was,
find you.
yeah, exactly,
From that
exactly.
share. That's how I land on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm approaching my 5,000 friend limit on Facebook. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to accept
Don't you
all of the
worry. I'll be
requests.
the follower.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been invited people to follow me, follow my public posts. I haven't been able to respond to everybody on Messenger, but I have, I do check the messages. I have been reading the messages, and I'm
For
really
sure.
glad that people are glad that their culture is kind of getting out there and getting more of a showcase because of
Hmm.
the festival and the pictures I took. And I also took some videos of of dancing,
Right.
and posted those on my YouTube account and posted those, from the link on my Twitter and on my Facebook as well. And those have been getting a lot of views as well. So yeah, it's been really great.
For sure. I appreciate you for all those great pictures you took. Now,
Thanks.
I'm just going to show a quick screen recording of the Flickr, all the pictures that you sent me. Here is kind of what it looks like, is what you highlighted. Is so many other countries and cultures
Yeah,
over there.
I have a professional Flickr account and I did an album of all of the photos that I selected from the Heritage Festival. So I took pictures at the Israel Pavilion.
All right. There's
Here come the
Oromo.
Oromo, um, Indigenous culture, Canadian Indigenous culture. This is some of the Oromo dancing.
Mm-hmm.
There's Palestine as well,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and dancing, the Dabka dancing at the Palestine Pavilion. And then back to Oromo. Then I returned for another day at the
Right.
festival. More pictures, more Oromo pictures. as you can see here.
Right. You took amazing pictures.
Thank you. And some of the
That's what
pictures from
we're
inside the
about.
pavilion as well. That was lunch that I had there, some delicious Oromo
That's
food.
a
So yeah,
delicious lunch.
yeah, yeah,
That lunch has history. We have a lot of pride on that lunch.
yeah.
Do you know the name of that meal?
They were selling that, I guess, called the vegetarian combo. So,
Right. It's it's called the budena.
right. I was corrected on my social media about the bread that it is actually called budena, and I noticed it was a little bit different than injera that I'm used to. It was a lot. It was lighter. The texture was a bit lighter, a bit fluffier.
Right. You can make it thicker or lighter.
Mhm,
Is optional. You can make it from three different ingredients too, like the main ingredients.
mhm.
So that thing got a lot of history because it was stolen from Oromia when Oromia got colonized, and it was given another name. But
Mhm.
let's go through some of the pictures. You said this is your favorite picture,
That's one of my favorite pictures. I really just like the power that's being shown, and the power and
hmm
the joy, I would say,
right?
that's shown in that picture.
For sure. And this is, I think, one of the famous Oromo dance. I believe they're doing
Mhm.
Shagoye here, and it was just a pretty famous
Yeah, I wouldn't
dance
know. Yeah, yeah. This was my first time experiencing Oromo dance live, so it was
for
very new
sure.
to me. But I noticed
And
just how high energy the whole pavilion was. It was like vibrating with energy.
right. And this one is your second favorite picture,
Yeah, the dancers went into the audience at one point and got
right?
audience members involved. As you could see, two women in the front there who who got into the dance as well. And again, just the energy and the joy. It was just nonstop.
Right, right. And this is more audiences, and the fans were more audiences were dancing. I think that's the famous Jima dance that they're dancing to there. And this one, did you know that coffee is the birthplace of Oromia? On that tent, I like it how you took it up close.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to just really document the whole pavilion. So that was the main sign that was on the front of the pavilion, and there was a display with these small coffee cups. I believe there's a photo of a woman who is sitting
Right,
behind the coffee cup. She was serving the coffee. One of the things that you could order at the pavilion was a small cup of coffee served traditionally, and
for
that
sure.
seemed to be very popular.
Yeah. Did you get any taste of Oromo coffee?
I did not taste the coffee. No, no, it was a very, very hot
Right.
afternoon, and I didn't feel like having any coffee. But certainly, if I have the opportunity again, I will.
And the closing, what do you think of the closing?
Beautiful, really colorful, really bright, really bold. Um, yeah, a lot of people were going into the pavilion and looking around and asking questions, and there were some items for sale too.
How many heritage goers were there, you think, that on those 3 days?
There was an estimated, I'm not sure that the totals were in. I know that there was an estimated about, it's a 3-day festival, and I
Right,
think about, it was expected about 300,000 people
right,
would be there throughout the weekend. Edmonton, to put that in perspective, Edmonton and the greater Edmonton area has 1 million people.
right,
So
right.
that's fairly significant.
We do have a heritage festival here too, but it's so small that you forget the day is on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
small though.
it's
It's so
here
small.
it's
It's
on a
not as big
3-day
as you
long
guys.
weekend. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on a 3-day long weekend, the August long weekend. And the Monday of the long weekend is actually called Heritage Day. It's a civic holiday here in Edmonton.
For sure, for sure. Out of overall thing, what do you learn about Oromos? What can you tell the world about Oromo and Oromo culture?
Um, Well, I should probably explain that I have a little bit of a history with the Oromo community here in Edmonton already.
Mm-hmm.
So in from about 2014 to 2017, I was the producer of a community access television program called From the Ground Up,
Mm-hmm.
and the focus of that show was protests, local
Mm-hmm.
protests on a variety of different causes: the environment, women's
Right.
rights, indigenous rights. And representatives from the local Oromo community contacted the station to let them know that they were having a protest concerning human rights abuses in Ethiopia, wanting to
Mm-hmm.
raise awareness, and wanting the Canadian government to make some kind of intervention. And
Right.
that information was passed along to me since I was producing a television program that dealt with
I see.
protests. And I ended up going to that protest and doing some filming and doing some interviews. And that was part of an episode of my show. And I also put up some of the footage from the protest on my one of my YouTube channels, just by itself. And again, like got a lot of views, and the representatives from the local Oromo community stayed in touch with me. And late 2015, early 2016, I think it was, I helped. They asked for my assistance in putting together a video,
Right.
sort of outlining the history of Oromo culture and the what was then the current situation that was going on in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped them do that, and we put the video out, and again, it went viral. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember we it ended up getting coverage in one of the local newspapers even.
Right.
And and I've stayed in touch with them ever since. I've gone to some other protests,
Right.
and like I said, I was so when I saw that Oromo had its own pavilion this year, that was definitely motivation for me to go to the festival to check it out. So I know a little bit about Oromo culture. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in it by any stretch, but I know about the occupation, and the that Oromo has traditionally its own religion, its own language, a little bit about the Gada system of
Oh
social
yeah.
stratification.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
well aware.
so yeah. So and that's kind of good to note, because I've been getting a lot of questions on my Facebook as well on the post asking,
For sure.
like I've never heard of Oromo before. What is Oromo? What's the difference? Like they're looking at the food, for example. It looks just like Ethiopian food. Like what's the difference?
Right.
Questions like that. Who are the Oromo people? Where is Oromia? Like, and
Mm.
because I don't think it's very well known. So it's really really great
It's
that
not
the
since
culture is
Ethiopia
coming more.
colonized us. Yeah,
Yeah.
since Ethiopia colonized us, the war never stopped for the movement for Oromo independence to reclaim our identity. And it's just recently, like 1990, actually a door a little bit opened up, and we start migrating out of Oromia and start sharing our culture and heritage through the world. And that is the connection and the network that you're seeing now, the network that our fathers didn't have. Like we in the current generation, we're building that network and we're bridging with the world, and we're letting the world know that Oromia is a country that was colonized and is fighting for its independence. And when we get our independence in Africa, particularly within Ethiopia, our culture will be free, and the world can travel to Oromia and freely exercise the culture of Oromia with us. But at this time, you cannot exercise the culture of Oromia when you go to Ethiopia. You can only exercise it in diaspora, like the ones in Canada and here in the US too. Like it's pretty big here too in Minnesota. Not so much cultural heritage, but like we have population here in Minnesota, and we just finished our soccer tournament, like where the stadium was full of people. We had as many as 300,000 plus people over 8 days attending the soccer tournament.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, it's intense. Everything about Oromo is so organic. That's the best part about Oromo, and the world's about to learn. Every year they learn more because we keep winning. Good friends like you,
Mhm.
Paula.
Yeah, it's really the wonderful thing about social media is that it makes it so much easier to get pictures and videos of events out there, and
Right.
it's just a question of people picking up on it and sharing it, and it, going beyond. So yeah, I'm really great to have had a part in helping amplify amplify your culture,
For
and
sure.
help more people learn more about it.
For sure. For sure. At this Heritage Festival, which one impressed you? What were the top three cultures that impressed you? Was
Well,
Palestine first too? I think you said Palestine
yeah,
was
yeah.
there
Well, I
first.
mean, apart from Oromo, of course, the Palestine pavilion was very impressive as well, because
Right.
again, there was just a lot of energy, a lot of dancing. The dancers went into the audience, and included them in the performance as well. So that was really, really great. I
Right.
always enjoy Afghanistan, because
Hmm.
some of my favorite food, is Afghan is from is served at the Afghanistan pavilion. So I was able to enjoy that as well. And what else? Like I enjoy a lot of it. I mean, the first day I went, I was at the Palestine Pavilion, and then it was right after the dancing. There was a downpour,
Right.
so
Heavy tour.
I,
Yeah,
I had
I
to
saw
leave. I
some of
had
those
to,
pictures.
yeah, I
Umbrellas
had to,
breaking. Somebody took a
yeah,
picture with a broken umbrella.
yeah. I had to leave the park, and I came back the next day. Fortunately, the weather held out a little bit better. Um, I enjoy the Canadian Indigenous displays as well, because
For
that's an
sure.
important part of Canada's history. And I know that I've heard comparisons of the Oromo people in Ethiopia to First Nations in Canada, in terms
Right.
of, we're on occupied land here in Canada. We're on occupied land. We've taken the land from the Indigenous people and we've colonized it. So there are some
Right.
parallels there,
For
for
sure.
sure. Um, I enjoyed the Israel Pavilion too, because I
Hmm.
myself am Jewish, and
Hmm.
there's a little bit of, very much part of my culture was in there as well.
Right.
I'm also like very much involved in human rights causes, so I'm like very much against the occupation in Palestine as well.
For
But I
sure.
still am very much identify as being Jewish,
For
and take
sure.
part in my religion and my culture as well. So
For
yeah,
sure.
it's just a really it's the Heritage Festival, like it's not a political event. It's just a time to
That's the
enjoy
best
food.
festival. I think it's the
Yeah,
best festival in the world. The
it's
pavilions impressed me
mhm.
a lot. They were all
Yeah,
giant.
they're huge. They're huge, and there's like
Dude,
70 of them.
right.
So there's
Was it a local business that's like designing pavilions like that? So big and giant, and the
uh
way the namings are is so big and it's
I
recognizable
think
from distance.
I'm not, I've never really been involved in the or in behind the scenes at the festival. My understanding is that the pavilions are run by different cultural, the different individual cultural organizations that
Right.
represent those cultures and those groups. So they're the ones who set up their displays, and they do the cooking, and they do um, they organize the dancers, and it's really and it really varies from pavilion to pavilion how elaborate the displays are and such.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Afghanistan. I it kind of opened up a new perspective for me on Afghanistan because we're told that that country is very oppressive, but to see them have that kind of culture, they were able to dance like that and have that kind of pavilion there and display their culture. That was awesome. I didn't expect
Mhm.
that out of Afghanistan, but it was good to see that.
Yeah, I didn't film any of any performances at Afghanistan. Palestine, yeah, a lot of
Mm.
dancing. That was incredibly energetic and just absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
For sure. So, Paula, you do photography for living?
I'm a freelance journalist and
Hmm.
media communications person. So I do writing, editing, photography, some filmmaking. I do social media, website consulting, little bit
Sure.
of everything. So photography is part of what I do in the larger context of all of those things. And I'm also a musician. I'm a singer songwriter, folk music, sort of leaning on the protest political
Hmm.
side of things. people can look me up on social media or at my website if they're interested in learning more or hearing more.
For sure. For sure. I appreciate you. So they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, and you're keeping it your name, Paula Kirman?
Yeah, apologetics, as you can see on the screen, that's my screen name for it. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And
sure.
my website is also very easy to remember. It's wordspicturesmusic.com. So anything like that, feel free to follow me. I appreciate building my audience, and I appreciate people reaching out and sharing in what I do.
Did it freeze? The screen just a little bit froze.
Yeah, I think your screen froze. I can hear you though. Does
Yeah.
I can hear you. Oh, I think you're unfrozen now. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh, I think you froze again. Oops.
Yeah, you can hear me now. Sorry about that.
I
My
can hear
screen
you.
froze
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Has anyone sent in any questions or anything, or?
And let me check. No question, just the comments. And they appreciate that I highlighted that the budena belongs to Oromos. It's the Oromo food. It's like pizza belongs to Italians. We're never gonna deny that. They own pizza and spaghetti. So Oromos own budena, which later on named injera. So I appreciate you, Paula, for coming in and displaying Oromo culture. And next year, hopefully, I'll be aware of it now. So next year, hopefully, maybe I'll do a live video from there. I'll get somebody to do a live video over there, and I'll interview you there live maybe next year.
That would be wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah, for
having me.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it froze again. Why?
Yeah. So hopefully you get your camera will unfreeze shortly. I'm sure Ace is working very hard to get his camera and microphone going again. And it seems that we have lost him, but I'm sure he will be back shortly. So
Sorry about that, Paula.
there you go. You're back. Yeah.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi kind of kicked me out, and I had to get back in. So it kind of kicked me out as we saying goodbye.
Oh no. Yeah.
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 We'll return again next year. I appreciate you so much, Paula.
Thank you so much, Ace. Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been wonderful.
For sure. Thank you. Keep sharing Oromo heritage. Keep amplifying it. We appreciate you a lot. Have a
Thank you
blessed
so
night.
much. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.